I was classmates with my husband Benjamin in high school. On a sophomore year school trip, we commenced our romance. My dream was to go to medical school. Benjamin also dreamed of becoming a lawyer at that time. We both went after our aspirations and were accepted into our chosen universities. Although it appeared that we were both headed towards success, Benjamin took the bar test 5 times in a row without passing. Following that, Benjamin began working for a general corporation in sales. However, I became a successful OBGYN after completing 6 years of university and a 2-year training program. Benjamin was just as thrilled for me as if it were his own accomplishment. "Liz, you've finally become the doctor you wanted to be. Congratulations." "Thank you. I think it's going to get even busier from now on. I'm sorry if I have to cancel our dates more often than before. There were several times during my residency when I was called in for emergencies. Now, as a fully fledged doctor, I have to work with even more responsibility, especially in obstetrics and gynecology. We can't schedule the birth of children to coincide with our convenience. We must be available 24/7 whenever a child decides to arrive. There's no time to worry about dates or anything else." Feeling sorry for Benjamin, I apologized. Benjamin abruptly proposed, "So, why don't we get married? You can go to work when you need to, and if we have kids and something urgent comes up, I'll support you," he said, embracing me firmly as I was taken aback by the abrupt proposal. "Oh, marriage? Yeah, that way we can always be together." I distinctly recall responding, "I'd be honored." While in tears, working in the field of obstetrics and gynecology offers the unique opportunity to participate in the miracle of life. Of course, we also treat ailments, but our line of work has a happiness factor unmatched by any other. It's my genuine calling, if you will. I'm 35 years old now. I've spent the last 9 years working as an OBGYN. I've given birth to a lot of babies and witnessed a lot of births. But after 7 years of marriage, Benjamin and I still don't have any kids of our own. Love children, we used to declare we wanted lots of them. At the start of our marriage, Benjamin was full of enthusiasm. "I'll work hard at my job." But that enthusiasm has greatly diminished. We had previously believed it to be acceptable because this was beyond of our control, but that was no longer the case. Even on our days off together, we haven't gone anyplace lately. Benjamin keeps himself occupied by locking himself in his room. He eventually secured his chamber with a lock, and he keeps it locked whenever he enters. We used to sleep contentedly in the same bedroom when we first got married. But since I occasionally had to leave the house in the middle of the night for work, we made the decision to sleep in different bedrooms so as not to wake Benjamin. Benjamin also returns home later when I work night or late shifts. How am I aware of this? Because we need to watch our dog. We have a security camera in the living room where the dog's cage is located, so we can always see the dog. I can tell when Benjamin gets home because the camera is programmed to alert us when someone does. Benjamin is aware of the camera, of course, and we can both use our phones to access it. Then, one day while working the night shift, I got a notification at an odd hour. Even though I was working the night shift, it seemed like he had come home on schedule. Though I wouldn't have given it much notice otherwise, there seemed strange about the notification sound. I checked my phone right away because I had a break, and I noticed Benjamin and a woman's skirted legs. In the break room, I couldn't help but ask, "What is this?" I just smiled and stated it was nothing when the nurses surrounding me inquired about my condition. Following that, on the days I worked night shifts, I began to get more notifications about Benjamin arriving home at regular times. However, every time I looked, all I saw were a woman's feet. I assumed Benjamin would just act foolish, even if I challenged him about it. I therefore put their names as on duty on our wall calendar at home during my days off. I chose to wait for Benjamin to get home that day. I was going home with someone, and that someone was my brother Joshua. Actually, I've been letting my dog stay at Joshua's house ever since the day the woman visited our home. I couldn't bear to leave it alone at home because I didn't know when another woman would be invited around. Benjamin arrived home from work on schedule, having spent 30 minutes waiting in Joshua's car. A female was accompanying him, strolling hand in hand. I was about to lose my cool when I saw this, but Joshua was there to console me in a way that surprised me. I grabbed my phone and started shooting a video right away. Joshua said, "It's surprising, isn't it? Worried about the neighbors seeing?" After they had finished filming and were heading into the home, I had to concur at this point. You're right. There must be neighbors seeing them for sure. It would be strange if there weren't any. Observing the surroundings, it appeared that our neighbors were making their way home at rush hour. I had never really noticed this previously because of my erratic work schedule, but now I knew that this was the typical time for folks to return home. I stayed at Joshua's house that night and dozed off while chasing my dog. I made plans to ask a close neighbor of mine about Benjamin and the woman the following day. As it happens, the neighbor had previously inquired about it and had likewise thought it was suspicious. She was his sister, he'd been told. Those who knew my brother was young and lived nearby thought so. After gathering evidence from a neighbor, I was debating whether or not to ask Benjamin about his divorce, when someone I recognized showed up in my consulting room one morning. The woman who walked in and said, "Hello," was clearly Benjamin's lover despite her anxious voice. I almost made a strange noise with my mouth, but I stopped myself. I said, putting myself in business gear, "Congratulations, you're 8 weeks pregnant." She spoke while tenderly caressing her belly. "Really? I'm so happy. Is it a girl or a boy?" And without being questioned, added, "My partner wants a girl." To avoid offending anyone, I replied in a neutral tone, "It's too early to tell the gender, but everything seems to be progressing smoothly so far. I can't wait to find out." She went on, "My partner wants a girl. I'm not married yet, but I'm thinking of getting married to him because of this pregnancy," she stated. I said insensitively, "I see," trying not to offend anyone. "Actually, he's only been divorced for 2 months. He says we can't get remarried until after 100 days. She continued. "Is that so? Is the father of the child here at the hospital today?" "Yes, he's waiting in the car," she said with joy. She smiled and went out to call him when I suggested she bring him in so we could talk about the future. I called in the affair partner again after seeing another patient for 15 minutes. Benjamin did, in fact, follow her inside. Benjamin started, "Excuse me, But as soon as he looked at me, he stopped talking. I asked, "Why are you here, Liz?" With a professional smile on my face. He looked at the nameplate outside the consultation room and muttered, "I work under my married name rather than my maiden name. While many female doctors continue to use their maiden names, my maiden name was very rare and difficult to pronounce. Perhaps that's why he hadn't paid much attention to it. In the hospital where I work, it's rare, but there has never been another doctor with the same last name in the same department, and the nameplates only display last names." Seeing Benjamin's confused expression, the other woman said, "Liz refers to me, right? We came in together, so of course I'm here." Lizette, the other woman's name, is Liz, in fact. However, it is completely disgusting to refer to his spouse and his lover by the same nickname. I chose to clarify as Benjamin appeared to panic when confronted by the affair partner and said, "No, this is a bit," saying, "Lizette, my name is Liza. I'm also known by Liz." "Benny, you were cheating." The fact that a 35-year-old man is referred to as Benny almost made me burst into laughter. "You're called Benny, and I did tell you about my workplace, right?" Benjamin was shocked and said, "No, I forgot about the workplace." Either he hadn't heard at all, or he showed little interest in my place of employment. The partner in the affair asked Benjamin again, unfazed, "Benny, who is this woman?" "No, well," Benjamin could think of nothing to say. He was, of course. The tale from the affair partner said that Benjamin and I had split up 2 months prior. Replacing the silent Benjamin, I made the decision to tell the affair partner the truth. "Lizette, I'm Benjamin's wife." "Huh. Was it a lie that you said you divorced to marry me?" Benjamin then said, "It's not like that. Just keep quiet for now, Liz." Benjamin appeared to be in a true panic. "What are you saying? We need to clear this up. You tricked me, didn't you? Just be quiet, will you?" He was, of course. When challenged by an affair partner and found to be lying in front of their spouse, nobody could stay composed. When I asked the affair partner, When did you start your relationship with Benjamin? About a year ago, she said truthfully, unlike Benjamin. I see. So you knew Benjamin was married and still dated him? I smiled and said, but he's already divorced, so it's fine, right? We're not divorced at this point. Benjamin trying to silence Lizette once more. But Benny said his wife was always cheating, and their marriage was already falling apart. Even so, being involved with a married man is a matter of compensation, I said. But this caused a dispute in the consultation area. Seeing the quarrel, a few nurses entered the room so as not to interfere with the remaining sessions. Security had been called to help me usher the two out. I made plans to talk with them both that evening at a cafe. I called my brother Joshua during my lunch break to tell him about the operation I needed to plan and to invite him to the evening session. Joshua asked, "This might be weird to ask, but didn't you guys have kids?" After hearing the entire story. When I heard that, I cried, "That's it. Thank you, Joshua." Forgetting my age as I gave him a tight hug that messed up his hair. That would surely be a further blow to Benjamin, I said. Stop it. Joshua yanked away, offering his assistance. If there's anything I can do to help, just let me know, he added. I had nothing to be afraid of anymore. When they finally arrived that evening, I was waiting for them in a cafe with Joshua when he asked, "You're cheating too, aren't you?" Joshua responded, "Long time no see, Benjamin. How have you been?" "What, you are? No way. Joshua and I are 9 years apart." "Yes, I was still in my teens when you two got married," I reply. He'd come a long way in the past 7 years, so it's understandable that Benjamin didn't recognize him. Joshua then looked at Benjamin sharply and said, "I'm here as a witness today, so please cooperate." A witness? Benjamin was taken aback. Joshua had actually graduated from law school and was now a divorce law specialist. Although Joshua was aware that Benjamin had failed the judicial scryer examinations multiple times, he had been thoughtful enough to keep it silent. Now let's return to our previous topic of discussion. I said, "I brought this here." I gave the envelope to her. There was a completed divorce petition inside. "What, you're quite considerate to bring this yourself," Benjamin replied in a tone that was triumphant, unlike the morning, and swiftly accepted our divorce. "I'm going to take this to the court right now." Lizette was overjoyed. Her wife of a CEO? What are you talking about? He said he was the CEO of a leading company, right, Benny? Benjamin's eyes darted about as he continued, "In 100 days, I'll officially become the wife of a CEO." "Well, that's correct," I chuckled incoherently. Lizette gave me a perplexed expression while laughing and gripping my tummy. "What's so funny?" "Oh, I'm sorry. Who did you say is the CEO?" "Benjamin is just an ordinary employee, and that house is in my name. Besides, there's no waiting period for men to remarry after a divorce," I replied. At this, Lizette became enraged. Joshua and I couldn't help but giggle as we watched the two dispute. "What, Benny? How many times do you need to deceive me before you're satisfied? I've had enough. You mean you didn't love me? Well, I thought you were rich and owned a big house. I wouldn't fall for an old man like you otherwise." I made the decision to push Benjamin even down at this point. I passed Benjamin a document with ease. Benjamin took the envelope and tore it open, asking sternly, "What's this now?" His face paled at the sight of what was there. "What is this?" "You know, that time in the past when we were both trying to get pregnant because we couldn't conceive? Here are the results. I didn't tell you because I thought you had your pride. Is this really mine? Yes, it seems you can't have children. But whose child is in her belly, I wonder?" I presented him with the results of the tests we looked into previously. Those findings indicated that Benjamin was not fertile. I never shared the outcome with Benjamin as I had reevaluated our circumstances and believed that we could coexist peacefully without having children. Lizette started to act hysterical, not caring where she was. "I wasn't told about this, that he couldn't have children. What, it's not my child? Could the test results be a lie?" To Benjamin's naively hopeful remark, Lizette continued, "If you're infertile, you're not the baby's father. I wasn't sure whose child it was, so I thought I'd marry you since you seem to be rich," she said. Joshua and I were dumbfounded by her words. They continued to make a scene, so, thinking of the cafe's piece, Joshua and I desperately tried to stop them. But their fervor didn't cool down. As a lawyer, Joshua began to address them both. He informed them that he would be demanding proper compensation from both Benjamin and Lizette, despite their protests of having no money. That was not our concern. When Joshua threatened legal action if they continued to resist, they reluctantly agreed to the payment. So we decided to proceed with the claims. The next day, I promptly submitted the divorce papers and kicked Benjamin out of the house. Afterward, incapable of managing household chores on his own and disowned by his parents, Benjamin had no choice but to marry Lizette. It seems he desperately wanted children, so he decided to raise the child of uncertain paternity as his own. Lizette probably thought it more advantageous to have him to support the child while paying the compensation together than doing it alone. Benjamin is working like a Trojan to pay off the settlements for both of them. Lizette has decided to put the child in daycare and work part-time once the baby is born. Meanwhile, I sold the house and stayed with Joshua until I found a new place. When I was about to move into my new home, Joshua expressed his wish for me to stay, but I brushed it off jokingly. "If I stay, you'll never get a girlfriend." Of course, I took the dog with me, and we're living together in the new house. I hope to continue being involved in the birth of many lives through my work.